So today we're taking a look at the Broadway Limited HO scale Santa Fe Railway EMD F3 locomotive, and special thanks to Broadway Limited Imports for sponsoring this video. So this locomotive is using the famous Warbonnet livery with red in the front and this yellow cross in the middle with the Santa Fe logo. It's quite an iconic design. I feel like many people will recognize this. But yeah, let's get started here in the front. So on top we have the windshield wipers, and one thing that surprised me is that if you look in the front, you can see the windshield actually slopes down towards the front instead of being straight down. You also got two grab irons on the roof, and on the engineer's side there is this grab iron ladder that goes around the nose. In the middle we have these two large headlights, yellow grab irons on the sides, the number plates, it says 26C, and above we have these tiny class lights. And then at the bottom we have this tiny C, and that's because these locomotives come in sets of 4. There will be an L for lead and an A, B, C. C's can still be in the front though. Then on the side we have some vents, and it's using this metal knuckle coupler. And then we have grab irons on the sides that do stick out. Then we have this bottom coupler cut lever, which is a bit weird because usually on locomotives they'll be on the top. And then below that we have two holes. Then above the coupler we have this little ledge that sticks out to access the nose door. And the nose shape itself, it's pretty rounding and curvy. Unlike modern diesel locomotives, which would be more angular, this is one of the key characteristics of the F unit series. Alright, so now let's go check out the side. So on the side we have a side cab window, a cab door with a door handle, some silver plates on the access ladder, and to the side we have this EMD builder's plate, back when EMD was still owned by General Motors. And above we have this cog in the panel, and apparently that's the sand filler hatch. This locomotive also has the F for front. And then at the bottom we have this 2-axle Blomberg B truck with a ladder in the front. The cab also has an interior with some seating, and it actually comes with a figure, so if you look on the engineer's side, there's the engineer dressed in blue. He is sitting kind of high up there. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that, but there you can see his face. And there's also railings on the side of the door. Then we have a curve and an indent for the Warbonnet shape. Then across the side we have these filter panels, and they're actually using see-through metal vents so you can see on the inside. Then we have two porthole windows to let in more light into the engine room. Then we have some vents here on the side, spaced differently, and another sand filler hatch. Then we have some lettering for Santa Fe, it's quite thin, and then stripes at the bottom. And there's also detail of molded in rivets. Then underneath we have the battery box and the fuel tank, and details for the fuel height gauge, the fuel fill, and the fuel cutoff switch. And there's actually a little jutting out section at the bottom with a pillar above it. This bottom section also has this gray weathering pattern to it, but in the light you can't really tell. Then above we have this interesting pattern inside the grille, makes this triangular shape right here. Then we have this back side door. It does come with a pair of grab irons as well as some in the back section, and there is this red step up here to match up with the red stripe, and there's a ladder underneath and another one in the back, and then in between we have a water fill hatch and the letters 26C. Alright, so now let's go check out the back. So in the back we have the gangway, a door with a window, a grab iron to the side, and a door handle. And this gangway is actually movable, so it does go in when you push it. Then we have these two columns of lines, grab irons at the bottom, some black MU hoses on the sides, train line hose, and a coupler cut lever, which again is on the bottom. Alright, so now let's go check out the other side. So it's pretty much the same thing, the only difference is that grab iron ladder on the nose. Now let's go check out the roof. And then from the top view down, you can see it makes this giant arrow shape, and this horn is actually off center. It's aligned slightly to the left hand side. Then behind we have these tiny little lift rings, and there are two vent panels made of etched metal and rivets along the border of the panel. Then in the center we have these 4 cooling fans. You can actually see the blades on the inside, and there are 2 exhaust stacks that stick out. And apparently this one had a roof antenna, another panel with lift rings in the back. Alright, so that's it for the top. Now let's go check out the bottom. Here's the movement of the truck. And you can see there's some vents at the bottom with a V shape inside, cylinder in the middle, some molded in detail. I don't know why it's so curvy down here. And here's the back. So this is the B unit, and this would be attached to the A unit to provide additional power. It just doesn't have a cab. The ends are pretty identical to the locomotive, nothing really different there, and the sides are similar as well, except this time it has 3 portholes, and the middle porthole has this hinge, so I guess it can open up the window, and you can see a little bit through to the other side, and a little bit in the vents as well. Then down below we have this Native American Indian head, and I didn't know this, but Santa Fe is associated with Native Americans, and that's why the trains are called Chiefs, and the Warbonnet refers to the headgear Warbonnet. And they also had a mascot called Chico, a Navajo boy. And then down here the builder plates placed next to the fuel gauge. The body has 2 doors, 2 sand filler hatches, and on the ends there are grab irons and a ladder, as well as the F, so you know this end is the front. If you check on the other side, this says 28B. Now if you rotate around the ends, again it's the same thing, nothing really changed, and this side is identical as well. Alright, so now let's go check out the roof. Now here in the front we have this panel with some lift rings, and I noticed the edge of the roof actually makes a triangle, and it's actually a roof overhang over the gangway. That's an interesting little detail. Apparently the A unit has it as well. Alright, so after that we have these 2 panels again, the fans and exhaust stack, and in the back there's this additional part here. I'm not sure what it is, like a chimney and maybe a vent. And then here's how it looks like on the bottom. You can actually move this middle section in the shell, so it does have some wiggle room on the sides. You can't do this on the A unit though. Alright, so now that we have the A unit and the B unit, we can actually combine them to form a 2-unit diesel locomotive. So that's how it looks like combined, and you can see the range of motion of the B unit. And here's how it looks like in between locomotives. See that gangway can actually press against each other. And I should note that these locomotives are actually pretty heavy for their size. The bottom feels like it's made of die-cast metal. The B unit's also heavy as well. So the A unit weighs around 1 pound and 0.2 ounces. While the B unit is heavier at 1 pound 0.9 ounces. For comparison, my Athearn GP38-2 doesn't weigh over 1 pound. Mainline locomotives though are still going to be heavier. Alright, so now let's go test this on the track. So apparently the B unit can move on its own, so I decided to do a test where it runs a train by itself. So as you saw, it definitely had problems, so I decided let's try just one coach. Which that turned out fine. So around 2 coaches or more, it's going to start making this grinding sound, at least on lower speed levels. But let's see how the A unit does. Definitely the A unit has higher pulling power. And now we're going to test medium speed versus high speed. Now the question is it faster or slower or the same with both of them together? So apparently the A unit gets slower and the B unit gets faster, so it's kind of balanced. The difference is not that significant though. And I didn't notice this, but apparently it comes with interior lighting in the cab, and these tiny class lights on the sides also light up as well. So for my final thoughts, it's a pretty cool locomotive. The Santa Fe Warbonnet F units are definitely a classic, iconic American train. I had no idea of its connection to the Native American Indians, that the Warbonnet scheme is made after the chief's headdress, and all their trains are called chiefs, so that makes a lot of sense. This model is decently detailed with see-through vents, lift rings, air hoses in the back, a little C in the front, an engineer figure, as well as interior lighting and working class lights. And I love the paint scheme. It has a nice metallic finish. It also has a pretty smooth acceleration and runs pretty fine as a set. On a low speed, you can actually make it so only the lights turn on. It's also my first B unit, so I got to learn what that's like. These trains were often used for passenger trains, but apparently there was a freight train called the Super C. You can run trailer on flat car trains, and that is prototypical. Now the only real con I have is that there are some spots where the printing for the stripes is a bit uneven. It's not always a fine line, which they are capable of doing right on the other side. If you look at it from far away though, you probably won't notice it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks to Broadway Limited Imports for sending me this to review. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. And I didn't realize this could happen, but apparently when I was running my trains, I noticed this burning smell from my scale trains locomotive, and I found out there's a little piece of fiber stuck in one of the wheels. So definitely, if you smell something off, make sure to check and clean your wheels.